pitch the film version of your game?
I think mine would be The Hangover, but with Crash Bandicoot.
That would be incredible.
Imagine that. He's just like in Vegas, like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
On the dance floor.
This is Versus, the GameSpot show that pits your favourite games, consoles, franchises, and hot button issues against each other. This week, it's the battle of the PS1 platforming trilogies as we pit Spyro against Crash. Fighting for Spyro is Oscar Dayus, who looked up to the little purple dragon like the father figure he never had. And arguing the case for Crash is Will Potter, who is a few Wumpa fruit short of an orchard. Each are going to argue the corner for their game over the course of 3 randomly picked topics, with the overall winner being decided by you, the wonderful viewer. Last week's fight between Uncharted and Tomb Raider saw Oscar notch up another win with 65% of the vote for his Uncharted argument, but can he make it 2 in a row this week? To vote on this episode, we're going to be throwing up a clickable poll right here on YouTube. Vote for who you think has argued their case better by clicking on the little eye in the top right corner at any point during the video and casting your vote. Or if you're watching this over on GameSpot.com, let us know who you think has won the debate in the comments section below. Right, enough out of me, let's get into it.
Bill, usually at the start of these episodes, we smack talk each other and say how we're going to knock each other out or test each other's chin, but you're just a nice guy, and I quite like Crash Bandicoot as well. You know what? I'm not going to smack talk you today.
Thanks, but you sure you want to do this? I mean, you are bringing your baby dragon game up against Crash Bandicoot.
Baby dragon?
Yeah, he's a little, it's for babies.
Shut up. You're a baby.
No, I am
Let's
not.
get into this.
All right, let's do this.
First topic, level design. To me, it's pretty obvious that even though I think some of Crash's levels are... Some of Crash's levels are very, very good.
All right.
I think Spyro has a more diverse range of levels. If you look at the kinds of locales that you go from ice rinks to underwater beaches to a super secret spy mission in a fireworks factory. And it's that variety that I think makes Spyro so good. And it's not only a variety in terms of the actual levels and the level design, and you know, some of them employ verticality really well and some of them are a lot more flat. Everything changes from level to level, both in terms of the design and in terms of the art style. I don't know, it's that variety that I think keeps things so interesting in the Spyro series.
You say that, but Crash has variety too, yeah? So you've got underwater, you've got mad castles, you've got future space levels. But the thing I like about Crash is it's a bit more focused, it's more linear. You are going from A to B, you're not wandering around with your dragonfly mate, collecting gems or whatever it is you're doing. Well, you are collecting gems in Crash as well.
You idiot! I think it's clear who's won this one.
Crash is more focused, so you are getting a better, more efficient gameplay experience. And what that means for the levels is that I think they can create a more interesting game for you by funneling you down these paths with obstacles, with spike traps and lava pits and crazy enemies and secret parts that you don't always find the first time through. And I think they're so expertly crafted that when you get to the end of the level, you want to go back and try it again because you're like, oh, what did I miss? Like, you want to explore every inch.
A lot of what you just said there, I agree with what you're saying, but I think it's actually a disadvantage for
Really?
Crash. Because I prefer the openness of Spyro's worlds, especially if you look at the way games have evolved to this very day. Like, games are generally a lot more open now, and Spyro was sort of one of the first games really to properly do that in 3D. You can go to any part of the level and it will reward you for exploring and for trying something different. And even when you go back, like you said about replaying them, I think that's more fun because they're more open, it's more diverse even within their levels. I think Crash, because they are more linear, once you've done it once, you've sort of done it every time. Do you know what I mean? There's not a huge amount of diversity when you go back and do it again.
I think where Crash mixes it up is you are getting from A to B and collecting a crystal, but you're not always doing that just as Crash. You are riding a motorbike, you are flying an aeroplane, you're riding a polar bear. I don't think Spyro has that much diversity in the way that you are.
Nah, because Spyro can do it all himself, can't he? He can fly, or well, glide, and he can breathe fire, and he can swim. He doesn't need someone else to do it for him.
Can he ride a motorbike?
No, but he can ride a skateboard.
Can he ride a tiger?
Probably. Can you ride a tiger?
Crash can.
No, I'm not on
what
about
we're
Crash,
here
I'm on
doing
about
today.
you. Billiam Potter.
Yes, I've ridden a tiger.
Oh, fair enough. Let's call it a day here then.
Cool. All right. See you later. Characters. Which game has the best characters?
Spyro, obviously.
No, obviously Crash.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, he doesn't have a lot to say, but he is the master of slapstick. Yes, you're dying over and over and over, but it's not miserable like Dark Souls. I love Dark Souls, but
That's not what it sounds
if
like,
you
mate.
fall into an ice lake, do you turn into a human icicle?
Maybe. I don't know.
You don't.
Oh, okay.
And if you get electrocuted, you see Crash's skeleton, and if you are blown up, his eyeballs go off in different directions. That's what I love about Crash. I think he is a funny character.
So what you're saying is the best thing about Crash is the fact that he dies.
Yeah, but he gets back up again. Obviously, great supporting cast. His sister, Coco. Aku the Mask, who helps you along in the journey.
What about that?
And then, yeah, exactly. And then the mad villains. Cortex is just hilarious. Like, you can't take him seriously, and that's the point. Like, he's a funny villain.
His forehead's nearly as big as yours, mine.
True. I was going to wear a big N on my head today, but I thought couldn't get the printer working.
I think Crash does have a really interesting cast of characters, and I do like the slapstick element to Crash, like you said. But I think you can't look past Spyro and the fact that he's a really bloody cool dragon who breathes fire. And you know what? He was actually quite a role model for me as well when I was growing up, because you know, he was. Because he was he was the smallest dragon in that community, and he was constantly told that he wasn't good enough, and he was too small, and he would never make it as a professional footballer.
It's okay. It's okay, Oscar.
It's not okay, Bill. But no, genuinely, he is like a really, really funny character who's got a wisecrack on him, almost like the Crash successor, Nathan Drake, if you will, weirdly.
Don't take my franchise.
I'll do whatever I damn well want.
Crash Bandicoot's Naughty Dog.
But I think the other thing about the Spyro games is that the supporting cast of characters was really good as well. Like in Year of the Dragon, you had all these companion characters like Sergeant Bird and Bentley the Yeti, Sheila the kangaroo, and Agent 9 as well, I can't forget, that all had their own unique playstyles and unique levels that again made the game so diverse. And also, I think the best character isn't even Spyro. The best character is Sparks, the dragonfly. Even though he doesn't say a word, almost like you were saying with Crash, he doesn't say a word, and yet there's so much character in him. You depend on him for the entire game, or the entirety of all three games, and he becomes not only a friend, but also a much needed companion, and you feel so vulnerable and so lost when he's not there, partly because if you get one more hit, you're dead, but also because he's a constant companion for you, and you can't help but feel lost without him.
He's a bug.
Yeah.
He's not a cool, like, possessed mask that can make you invincible.
I mean, that's true, but he can make you invincible, kind of. Well, he gives you extra lives, so that counts as invincible, right?
Okay.
Whereas Crash is just, I mean, Crash himself, yeah, he's fine, his deaths are funny, but like, at the end of the day, he's a Bandicoot, and have you seen what those things look like in real life? Because they are pathetic, much like you and your argument.
Stop this. I'll have nothing said about Bandicoots, unless it's praise.
Praise the Bandicoots.
Yeah.
All right, Bill, final topic.
What is it?
Legacy.
Ooh.
The lasting impact of our respective series. Well, I think personally, I think Spyro has had more of a lasting impact upon...
Sure about that?
Yeah, I am, yeah, actually. Yeah, so screw you.
Okay, explain.
You only have to look at the biggest Spyro game, and really the most recent sort of offshoot of the Spyro franchise has been Skylanders, which not only spawned a hugely successful series in itself, but actually spawned an entire genre by itself. Toys to Life was not a thing before Skylanders came along, which, let's not forget, was a Spyro game. And without that, you wouldn't obviously have Disney Infinity or Lego Dimensions, or even Amiibo. Like, Amiibo were clearly massively influenced by Skylanders and by Spyro. And let's not forget that the original three games are still there for you to play and enjoy, and soon they're going to be joined by the Reignited Trilogy, which I'm absolutely buzzing for. I can't wait for it, because like, those three games are some of my favourite games ever, and they were sort of the three games that made me fall in love with gaming, and so I can't wait to play them all again. So I think it's pretty clear that Spyro has an incredibly lasting legacy, both in terms of the industry and personally on me.
That's a fair argument, but you are wrong. I mean, clearly Crash has a much stronger history and legacy. Obviously, Crash Team Racing, which rivaled Mario Kart back in the day. That game was incredible.
Yeah, Crash Team Racing was good in fairness.
Crash Bash, sort of like a Mario Party mashup with all of your favourite Crash Bandicoot characters, like the polar bear. He was my favourite. But let's not forget Naughty Dog, who made Crash Bandicoot. What did they go on to make? What was another game that sent you to different parts of the world and had you run away from boulders? Uncharted. And I think you can see, like, from Crash Bandicoot all the way through Naughty Dog's history, it's maintained influences from those original games. And of course, Sane Trilogy, one of, if not the best-selling remaster on PS4. That game sold like hotcakes, and for good reason, because it's really good. It takes everything you love from the original Crash Bandicoot trilogy, gives it a nice polish, and it's ready to play again. It looks amazing. Not that the PS1 games don't still look really good. Like, there's something very lovely about that old PS1 look. Yeah, it still looks great today.
Yeah, I hope with Insane Trilogy, I think you're right. I think the PS1 games for Crash and Spyro still look good today because at the end of the day they had good art styles. But yeah, I really hope that the Insane Trilogy and the Reignited Trilogy help bring these two amazing series to an entire new fan base, you know, because there are people far younger than us that are probably playing these games for the first time, and hopefully to them it's still as good as what it is in our own minds. But yeah, I think even though I've poked fun at you and at Crash today, I do really enjoy Crash Bandicoot, and although I do prefer Spyro, I think both series are incredible, and I can't wait to play more of them. Hopefully, we'll get some actual new games as well as these remasters.
That's a very fair argument, and I don't really have anything to say against you. Other than I can't wait to play Crash on the Switch. So, portable now, baby.
Shut up. Let's go.
Well, that ended on a more even note than usual, but let us know who you think debated their case better by voting in our poll in the top right corner of the video, or if you're over on GameSpot.com by putting your thoughts in the comment section down below. It'll be your vote that decides who wins, so make yourselves heard. Right, time for this week's Quickfire Round, a series of dumb, fun questions written by the rest of the UK team. Naturally, Oscar and Will have no idea what's coming their way.
If both Crash and Spyro ran for the US presidency, who do you think would win?
Spyro's very eloquent. I'm sure he's got some very good views, actually, on the economy and international relations and that kind of thing. He'd sort out all the world's problems, Spyro, mainly just by burning the bad people with his flame breath.
So pretty much what's happening right now in the States.
Do your best impression of your game's mascot.
Well, I can easily do mine, because it's... Whoa!
That's Nathan Drake, innit? You got me meant to
Oh,
be doing
wait,
Crash.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I can really do a good impression of the TNT box as well.
Go on. Pitch the film version of your game. Oh, that's a cracking question.
I think mine would be The Hangover, but with Crash Bandicoot.
That would be incredible.
Imagine that. He's just like in Vegas, like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
On the dance floor.
All right then, Spyro, what would you do then?
I don't know. I mean, the easy answer is essentially How to Train Your Dragon, with starring me and your boy Spyro.
So you're saying you want to ride Spyro?
I reckon I'd fit on him quite well.
Be like a child riding a donkey.
Do you think more Rule 34 exists for Crash or Spyro?
If you type Spyro on Google Images, I guarantee the first page is going to have some filth.
Yeah, I reckon his horn is in the Rule 34 section of the internet. It's going some places, isn't it?
Whereas Crash, I reckon he's a never nude because of those jorts he wears. Those don't come off, like they're fused to his body.
Yeah, he's never wanged it out, is he? Cut it.
Remember to get your voice heard in our poll or in the comments section below and tell us who you think argued their case better. And if you enjoyed this episode of Versus, make sure to hit that subscribe button, as we'll have new episodes of the show every Wednesday. Thanks for watching. See ya!